Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. Welcome to my virtual living room. I love when I see comments saying, wow, I love Peggy's living room. Yeah, I love it too. You can have it also. It's actually virtual. And I just want to mention that from time to time. Uh, it's just better for my privacy these days. And I think some of you know what I'm talking about. So it makes me happy to be in this room. When I look at it on the screen, I feel peaceful and relaxed and happy. And that's exactly what the bad guys don't want us to feel. You probably know, like I do, that their end goal is psychological despair. All right. It's a spiritual battle. And I believe I am under spiritual attack. I've lost my voice. I lost my microphone. It's never going to stop, but I'm never going to stop either. So I am marching this all the way to heaven. And I want this to be an uplifting show. And we are going to be talking about you and what you have been through and what you experienced even at a young age. And we're talking about what I learned from a third grader, the video that I did yesterday, which let me share that with you. All of my videos, I hope you will check out. And it's important. Let me show you how to find them, because some of you have been saying that you are unable to find my videos. So before we dive into some of your lovely comments, we are going to look here. So it's the Healthy American Peggy Hall. And again, I'm here 4 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday, an occasional weekend bonus. But I'd love for you to just join me. Don't wait for a notification, because YouTube won't send you one. They probably already unsubscribe you from my channel anyway. My videos get thousands and thousands of views, and I'm stuck like an old odometer that somebody fiddled with. It just will never change. I don't care about the count. What I care about is getting my message out, and you can help me do that. So when you come to my page, you have to click on live. All right, live. You're going to see we're live right here. What I learned from a third grader. Most of my videos are live. So that's why they're called live streams, and they are also recorded for you, but they're under the live tab. So yesterday, I did this one, a violation of child labor laws, and so many great comments. And then you can also click on videos. Videos are the videos that I record in advance, and then I upload, but I upload as a premiere. And that means that as it's airing, you can interact with everybody in the chat as you're doing if you're watching this live. So that's how to do it. I would recommend not doing a search on YouTube for my videos, because YouTube will not share with you my videos. So you go to the Healthy American Peggy Hall, and then you click on videos. And then most of my videos are on the live tab. So there you have it. So we're going to look at this one, the violation of child labor laws. What we're going to look at are your comments, which were so incredible, because the point of the video, and I hope you'll watch it if you missed it, is that as an entrepreneur myself, I have been running different businesses all of my life. And this particular business, my health and wellness business, where I was making my handcrafted products, including my youth serum that many of you asked me to bring back. So I promise you, I will have that for you, hopefully before Christmas. It would be a great Christmas gift. And I had a neighborhood boy, an 8-year-old, a third grader, ask if he could help me package up my soaps and organize the receipts and put my t-shirts in order and do inventory and whatever it is that I needed help with. And it turned out that I probably learned more from him than he did from me, because I learned about the desire, regardless of the age, to contribute. I mean, think about little 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds. They want to help. They, what can I do? And maybe you don't want them to help all the time, because it might be, they get into a mess. But I believe that there is an innate sense that of wanting to contribute, of wanting to make a difference, of wanting to learn and grow and be valued for what we do. And so the third grader and his friend, who I think was a 5th grader, would come to my house in the garage where we worked on these products. And they worked all through the summer, even telling their little friend coming by on the bicycle that they were working, so they couldn't go to the park and play. And then the parents of these young children told me about what they saw in their children's growth and development, especially regarding money. And I asked you to share with me jobs or how you earned money when you were young. And I was reminded by some of your comments that I actually did do things. So I did babysit as well. And one thing that I forgot to share with you is I actually used to sew garments. I still have the sewing machine. And at the age of about, I think I was 13 or 14, and I had gone to summer school and I took a sewing class and I absolutely loved it. Sad to say that my patience for sewing has kind of gone by the wayside. Maybe in my older years, I'll take that up again, but I loved sewing. I have a perfectionist streak in me. And I loved lining up the, all of the seams and making sure that the buttonholes were accurate. And I had people that came to me and actually commissioned clothing. I was like 14 years old and I was making men's shirts with collars and buttons. And it was so funny because I remember making a whole matching set. Remember back in the day, do families do that any longer where everybody would wear the same fabric? So I had this kind of Hawaiian fabric, which you had to be very careful when you ironed it because it would basically was flammable. It would melt. I mean, it was this high polyester fiber material and you couldn't have the iron on it too hot because literally it would just melt. And I remember making the dresses, the blouses, and the men's shirts for this family. And it's like, wow, here I was. And then I want to tell you something else, making that money. And I remember getting that money. It was a check. And so my mom took me to the bank and we opened a savings account. And she said, it's very important. And I have stories your stories as well about saving money. And it's very important that you, keep track of your money. And she did in the best that she could to help me understand the value of money. And then she also helped me with investments. And she said, now you could take that, it was probably $50, which was like, 500 or maybe even probably 5,000 these days with inflation. It was a lot of money. And she said, now you could just fritter that away on, little doodads or whatever, or you could do something with that money that is meaningful and make an investment. And I will tell you that I decided to purchase a small gold ring in the shape of a heart. I wish I had it to share it with you. And there were 2 tiny little diamonds in the heart. And I don't even think the $50 covered it. I think I had to invest in it. And I still have that ring to this day. And I will never forget that lesson of either just frittering the money away, saving it, investing it. And then the other thing that she taught me was donating, doing something for others. And to this day, those are kind of like my categories of what I do with these precious resources, of money, which all belongs to God anyway. And if you're interested, maybe I'll do this in the private class. Maybe it's not for YouTube, but I do my private classes once a month, and that is a private webinar. It's actually this Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And if you can't make it live, it is recorded for you. And this is my gift to those of you that have gifted me with a financial donation or by being a subscriber to peggyhall.tv or a paid subscriber to my Substack. You have given to me out of your pocketbook, your hard-earned money, and you know how much I value the exchange of value. So when you have done that, it touches me deeply and I want to give back to you. So I think in one of the private seminars, I'm going to talk about an epiphany I had about money and how it changed my life forever and continues to do so. So here is how you inspired me. So here we've got Grace says, my dad was a CPA and they would put me to work pulling pages of old tax code out of each notebook and replacing with the updates, which were numerous. So there she was actually, and see, I love this. Many of you told me that you worked for your parents and you actually went into their business. And this is something that I really, really value is a type of apprenticeship. Now, I was doing my sewing and I wasn't apprenticing with anyone, but imagine if that really had become a gift and a talent and a passion of mine. I could have gone to, there was a place where I grew up where they made bikinis made in the USA. And you could go and take a class on how to make a bikini and make your own and buy your fabric there. But imagine if I wanted to sign on like an apprentice or even ask to be a volunteer and I could learn how they do that sort of thing. So I think it's fantastic for people, for children to learn at a young age. I mean, think about it. They're in school all day long. Well, it's a type of learning. It's a type of forced learning. Some children don't like being in that setting. And I really am a fan of homeschooling and apprenticeships where you're learning from the get-go. Here's another one. Cindy said that she started babysitting for money at her neighbor's home at 11. Let me know in a comment below how many of you did babysitting. I remember babysitting as well. And then she got an allowance from the age of 8, and she had many lemonade and cookie stands at 9. She said, I always sold out, probably due to my mom's cookies. She said, I did water down the lemonade to make it last. And she said, I do have a great smile, Cindy says about herself, and a cute dimple. And she grew up knowing that there were certain jobs for pay and others that you did just because you were doing your part around the house. She said that she and her husband passed the same on to the kiddos and also the grands. And the granddaughter is 6 and loves to do odd jobs for money. She said, I loved it all. I enjoyed being productive. I enjoyed having a purpose. And she said she'd rather pay her grandchildren than someone else. Oh, that's something else. When I was in college, I guess I wasn't really a teen then, but yeah, I cleaned houses. I worked in the library. I was a lifeguard for the YMCA. I taught swimming lessons. So I have had so many jobs in my life. I must have had literally hundreds of jobs in my life. And I know many of you have as well. So here's another. I babysat for $20 a week. I cleaned the house and I ironed. I bought all my clothes and anything else I needed or wanted. She said, I was 13. It never crossed my mind that there was anything wrong with that, except my friends never had to do that. So many of you have told me that these stories of working really gave you such a value for, you valued money, you valued your effort and what you did and how you contributed. But the bigger picture that I want to point out here, friends, because we're talking about reinvention, and for some of you that are retired, or maybe you lost your job, or maybe you feel adrift with all of the hogwash that was sloshed all over us these last few years, you want to get back on a strong footing. Maybe you want to leave all that behind and start out fresh. You probably have some dreams that you put in a box with the lid, and you put that box up on the shelf. I want you to take down that box and open the lid and look at your dreams and go after your dreams. And think about when you were young, when you were 11, I had the 8-year-old. They didn't care. They didn't think about, well, I don't know how to do it. They just did it. I was 12 years old and I ran a whole car wash event. I had to get a permit from the city. I didn't know what to do. There was no internet. I had to ride my bike to the city hall to get the paperwork and fill it out. There was no email. I didn't have a clue what I was supposed to do. And I just put one foot in front of the other. I think some of us lose that willingness, that gumption, that courage, that desire to just dive in and try it. I think as we get older and older, there's a part of us that thinks we're supposed to know how to do everything. And if I don't know how to do it, it's embarrassing and I'm too far behind. And what if I don't do it right? None of those things existed for my 3rd grader. He asked me how to do things. He was happy to be taught. He was eager to learn. He did not have any shame about not knowing how to do something, or if something wasn't done right. In fact, he came up with better ways of efficiency in the later years as he stayed on helping me part-time as he went through school. So I think it's amazing when we go back and think about our younger selves. I never thought of an obstacle. All I thought was the end result, and I'm going to go after it. And I was happy to make the money. I was happy to have those opportunities. And I know that you were as well. So let's see. Here we go. Another, I was babysitting at 10 and 11 years old. Whatever I made, I was super happy with. I was good at it. They were babies. They weren't little babies. They were little kids. And I fed and bathed and played. And I did nighttime with them. I loved it. Here we go. My first money-making job was at the age of 7, picking cucumbers on a foster family's farm to be sold to the Morton Company. I just got the silver and copper change after the sale. Now that was indeed slave labor in a so-called Christian. Oh dear. Well, we'll just leave some of those comments best for you to read. I don't want to read those out loud. Cuba says, I think it's not only beneficial, but essential to allow children to work if that's what they want to do. I was always allowed to work as a child whenever I wanted to. I used to go to work with my mom on the weekends. I learned how to do invoicing. I helped at farms and I worked with horses. It's incredible what kids can get out of these experiences. These days the kids are on their, well, I don't have young children, or grandchildren, but maybe you do. But it seems to me that a lot of children are on their phones, or they have every moment of their day structured with camps and homework and classes and other things. Why not let them make some money? I just think it's so good for our society. One of the best comments I got, and I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not sure if I can see it here, or maybe somebody emailed it to me as a response. And this has been a huge epiphany for me in these last several years. The government, I believe, does not want people to be productive. It doesn't even have to do with money. It just has to be with productive people. Because when you're productive, think about it and let me know in a comment, all of the benefits, the side effects of being productive. I'll just rattle a few off the top of my head. I think you feel accomplished. You feel self-assured, self-confident. You feel as though you have contributed something, that you are making a difference, because all of that comes from contribution. That comes from being productive. So when you think about what they're doing in California, rolling out the universal basic income, oh yeah, that's coming. And they already tried it with cooties, right? They gave everybody money, the hush money, the blood money. No, I didn't get any. In fact, it was the opposite. I lost a couple of jobs, but the Healthy American became my job, and you became my employers, in a manner of speaking, because I want to fight for you, for your rights, and help you defend your rights and learn about the laws that are ideally supposed to protect those rights. So I believe that the government wants people to be lazy. That's why they roll out the pot in California and other states. That's why they're decriminalizing drugs. This is my view. That's why they're giving away a lot of things for free. That's why in California you can do a smash and grab. No one's going to come after you. You just take the merchandise and you're supposed to sit back and let it happen. I believe that the end game, one of the goals of the government, is to have people that are not productive. Because when you're productive and you're self-assured and you're self-reliant and you're able to make something of your life without a government handout, and there is a place for that, don't get me wrong. Those are stopgaps, but it's not a way of life. So I believe that the government wants it to be a way of life, because then we're easier to control, we're easier to manipulate. And think about certain places. Sadly, Hawaii is one of them. Well, I don't know if it's sad for the Hawaiians, but in Hawaii, it is probably one of the top welfare states of the country. And you may say, well, that's because, the United States is occupying that land illegally. And I would tend to agree with you. But the fact is, we can see, maybe even think about Native American Indians, that there are stereotypes of people getting the government assistance and then not working. And then there are problems that stem from that. And there are problems with alcohol and drugs and abuse and other things, because I believe it stems from people not having a purpose and a role. And it's not just in Hawaii and the native lands. It happens everywhere. It's certainly where there is poverty, certainly where there is despair. And so if you are despairing, the best thing you can do is go help somebody, go do something, go get a job. And here are plenty of ideas. You could babysit, you could do these things that might be considered, well, those are, for children. I have a friend that has been a lifelong friend of mine, my age. She still babysits because she loves children and she wants some pocket money and she wants to do something with her time. Even though I have accomplished a lot, I know and I recognize in me when there are certain things where I feel overwhelmed or I don't know how to get started. I don't have enough information. I resent that I have to do certain things. I wish somebody else had to do it. And we're going to dive into some of these reasons why we procrastinate via overwhelm or just confusion or other things that I'm going to touch on. So all of that, actually, it's available for you right now let me share my screen. This is over at thehealthyamerican.org. You click on products and classes, And here is where you can find the standalone class. So 10 things I wish I'd known before starting my businesses. And that has a $27 price tag. I've got my program there. And I think you can learn from people in my generation because I've had so many decades of running my businesses. I did, as I told you, I had my sewing business. I taught swimming lessons. I had the car wash. Later, as an adult, I actually launched more, entrepreneurial businesses where I would go into these international companies and teach English. And then I would teach pronunciation skills, presentation skills, business writing. And later I had my health and wellness business where I had my women's retreats. I would love to get those up and running again if the hogwashers don't try to slosh more shutdowns on us. And then, of course, I had my own health and beauty products. One of those, the youth serum. If you watch the previous video, you'll see what my skin looked like before I created my youth serum and why I love this product. And so many people do as well. So I promise you, I will bring that back on the market. Stay in touch by getting on the Substack. I'll probably send out an announcement that way. Again, it's free to sign up for that. And that way I can email you when it's ready to order. And that's another example of just kind of starting your own business. People ask me about what I did for my skin. And I said, well, I just create my own concoction. It's all natural botanicals and essential oils, and it's very hydrating. And I just love it. And people said, well, I want some. And it was like the market telling me what they wanted, much like the Healthy American. You have told me what you want me to cover and what you want me to talk about, and how I've helped people with their religious exemptions and keeping businesses open and getting their children out of the public prison schools. So just being attentive to a problem and then solving that problem is you're way ahead of the game if you're doing that. But if you're not sure where to get started, maybe you don't even business, then maybe this isn't for you. But if you want to support me, or maybe this is a gift that you could give to someone that you know that would be interested in contributing, participating, and learning about launching a business, making money off your ideas, I think that's a great idea. All right, let me give you just a couple more of your comments because I absolutely was inspired by everything that you wrote. Here we go. Melissa was picking apples around 7 with her dad and making apple cider, even went to the press and helped fill the gallon jugs. I love that. Here's Holistic Health says that her first job earning money was at age 5, selling pot holders that she made door to door. You could do that again right now. I want you to think that the sky's the limit. Whatever you were loving to do as a child, you probably still love to do it. Maybe there are some dreams, as I said, that you put on the shelf and you want to take down. Maybe you want to branch out into other areas. Maybe you've got an artistic streak that now you want to explore. And maybe you want to make handmade greeting cards, but you don't have a clue as to how much to charge or where to sell them. And do you need a website? And I'm telling you, you don't need a website. You can sell them right on Instagram. You can sell them from your Substack. So if you're interested, especially if you are leaving a job, maybe newly retired, maybe you've been happily retired, but you're like, you know what? I want to get back in the game. I've got some gifts and talents and skills that I want to share. I want to contribute. I want to push back against the man, meaning the government, who doesn't want us to be contributing. And I think that's part of the reason that they don't want children working at a young age, because once they get a taste of that creativity and earning money and feeling confident. I mean, I'm telling you, the 3rd grader probably felt far more confident in school, knowing that he was learning things and contributing things and making money at a young age. So Deja says, I love this story, Peggy. My son was helping me in my business at the age of 7 or 8 as well. He put shipping boxes together for me, and the tax guy said it was allowed to pay him. I think it's amazing when kids want to help because so many others would rather play video games. Dan says when he was 10, he was working for the local team roping club. They would put the steers in the chutes, release the steer, and take the ropes off. We were paid $5 a night. I love these stories. Here's another one. George says, George in Virginia, I got my first job at Cooper's department store at 7 years old. My mom had her own gas station that I worked at when I was 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the Coopers hired again at age 9 to work their water slide. I always had a summer job. Then I went on to open my own company, still operating it at 25 years and going strong. It's good for the soul to stay busy. Friends, I want you to read all those comments from the video, and I know there will be more comments on this one. I'm going to save my voice. I will leave on that amazing note. I just want to tell you, you really lifted me up at a time that I really needed it. I've had a rough couple of weeks with the hate mail, with the losing my voice. A dear friend had a tragedy in her life, and we all are affected by these tragedies that we witness. And I will continue to bring you updates on some of the headlines so that we can develop our critical thinking skills. And I do know that you are able to read between the lies, that you are able to discern truth from deception, especially on the mainstream media. So I don't think I have to take you through by the hand, step by step through so much. I probably will do a couple of videos on the Duper's Delight regarding what's going on also in Maui and some of the other videos that I've seen in some current events. But my goal is never to ridicule anyone or to demean or deride or diminish any suffering that's really going on. But I have to tell you that the way out of this is to be productive, is to make something out of your life, is to rise above all of the tragedy and the mayhem and the deception that is intentionally put there to wear you down. So when you are involved in doing these creativity, how do I put this? When you are involved in creating something, giving of yourself, doing and being productive, I believe that that is going to strengthen your ability to withstand all of the other hogwashing that is probably going to be coming our way. I want to make the most of every day. I know that you do too. So thank you so much for being on board for these positive videos. If you like this kind of topic, then please join me on Mondays over at my Living Swell channel. It's here on YouTube, and it's called Living Swell with Peggy Hall. Remember, that's my other business, Living Swell with Peggy Hall. That's where my health and beauty products come from. And on that channel, it's all about keeping your head above the waves in the stormy seas of life. Once in a while, I will mention current events as they impact our ability to pull our shoulders back and sit up tall and breathe deeply and keep going. But it definitely is not a channel about current events. It is about emotional well-being and making the most out of each day. So health, healing, happiness, that kind of thing. I would love to see you there. That's Monday, and that's at 11 a.m. Pacific. I did have a little time conflict yesterday, but everything is there for you. Remember, click on live as well as video, those tabs, and that way you'll be able to see all of the content that I've created for you. I've got thousands of videos that I've created over these last few years, and my goal is to continue to do so as long as you are here to support me. So I really appreciate you, each and every one. Big shout out to the moderators as well. And then I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming broadcast. And be sure to get on that free Substack, peggyhall.substack.com.